Finding sapphic films with happy endings can sometimes feel like a fraught activity because there are still so many out there that don't have happy endings. But today I have 15 more entries in part 2 of my series of films that won't break your heart, with more to come. Below Her Mouth is a Canadian film from 2016 about Jasmine, who spots Dallas, who is working on a roofing project next door. When they cross paths at a lesbian bar, Dallas makes a move despite knowing that Jasmine is engaged to be married to a man, and though Jasmine is somewhat resistant, she succumbs to Dallas's charm. Over a weekend, while the fiancé is away, they engage in a passionate affair that shakes both of them to their core. This film is definitely up there on the sexy meter with some relatively, shall we say, detailed love scenes, and it's probably because of this that this film has been popular with so many of us sapphics. I thought it was decent, and best of all, it has a good ending for the ladies. Bound, the 1996 neo-noir classic from the Wachowski sisters, is another saucy film which put both of them on the map as filmmakers, opening up the possibility for them to make the smash hit The Matrix. Here it's the story of Violet, who wants to escape from her mafioso boyfriend and sees her opportunity when she meets Corky when she comes to fix some plumbing in her apartment. Things ramp up pretty quickly between the women in true U-Haul style, and they hatch a plan to steal some money from the mob, use the boyfriend as the patsy, and make their escape. Things don't exactly go to plan, but one thing is certain, they get their happy ending. 2022's Badhaai Do is a much tamer story, but one I rather enjoyed. It follows sapphic Sumi and a gay man, Shardul, who decide to have a lavender marriage to each other so that they can get their families off their backs. That way they can live their best gay lives with the same-sex partner of their choice. While on paper that sounds good, it's hardly straightforward, as their families meddle in their lives, which requires them to charade as a legitimate couple and generally deal with having to be so deeply implicated in each other's lives. For Sumi, who has a girlfriend, Rimjim, it leads to lies to explain why she's living with them. The movie did toy with a will they ultimately end up falling in love with each other storyline, probably to keep the straight audiences entertained, so I guess a bit of straight baiting. They thankfully do not go there, and both characters stay resolutely queer, and even get a happy ending with them out and proud. I won't lie, I did get a bit emotional at the Pride Parade sequence, and the love story between Sumi and Rimjim is lovely. Another film with some lovely gay and lesbian solidarity is the delightful Dating Amber, a film that takes us back to the mid-90s Ireland, where Amber and Eddie decide to fake date to keep the school bullies off their back. A lovely friendship develops. While Amber meets and starts a relationship with a girl, Eddie is struggling with his sexuality and the expectations placed on him as a young man during the Troubles. Ultimately, it ends well. This is a well-made movie that ranks among my faves, with lovely performances and that delightful Irish humour to craft an affecting coming-of-age story. A list about happy sapphic endings would not be a worthy list if But I'm a Cheerleader was not on it. This campy comedy is rightly a cult classic which takes a farcical look at the utter ridiculousness of conversion therapy. Megan is suspected for being a lesbian because she seems to have an aversion to pashing her boyfriend and tends to pin up hot swimsuit models in her locker. Her family and friends stage an intervention which sees her heading to conversion camp to help pray away the gay. But all that happens is she gets to meet a whole heap of other queers, and while she is determined to cure herself by becoming a good heterosexual, she finds herself falling for one girl in particular, Graham, the perfect cynical counterpoint to her bright and sunny personality. The film is a tonic to all the depressing and gritty queer films out there and sports a robust cast. Nina's Heavenly Delights is a film I found less memorable, about Nina who returns to Glasgow from London for her father's funeral to find that his restaurant, now half owned by her childhood friend Lisa, is in trouble and might get sold to the local entrepreneur. Unable to accept that possibility, she teams up with Lisa to help save the restaurant by entering a cooking competition, and along the way she finds love. It's been more than a hot minute since I saw this, so perhaps it's time to rewatch, since I have read comments about how a few of you love this film. I just remember thinking that some of the sequences were pretty cringe and not being convinced by the chemistry, but hey, I have had changes of heart about a number of sapphic films upon rewatch, and perhaps this would be one of them. At any rate, this is a low-budget rom-com that most certainly has the happy ending we crave. I'm sure there is absolutely no surprise at I Can't Think Straight making it onto this list. It is an enduring fave, one that fits easily into a select number of sapphic rom-coms. Layla meets Tala through a friend, and a friendship quickly follows. Tala is set to be married, and her family is hopeful that this time she won't cancel the engagement at the last minute, since she has a track record for doing that. During a wedding shopping excursion to which Layla is invited, their growing attraction can no longer be ignored, and it leads to the bedroom. While Layla is ready to assume her sexuality and comes out to her family, Tala is not yet ready. But while she rejects what's happened, she ultimately must face who she is and who she wants. It's a sweet and easy rom-com with a happy ending. Let me mention the next few briefly. Liberty's Secret, a musical about a minister's daughter who is invited on the campaign trail for a Conservative candidate and falls for the campaign manager. It's low budget and I thought it was just okay, but if you enjoy musicals, you may very well enjoy this one. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman is based on the true life story of the man who invented Wonder Woman and based it on the woman he was in a poly relationship with, his wife and girlfriend. The two women were also very much into each other as well, and they raised their kids as one happy family. Show Me Love, the 90s film about Agnes dealing with school bullies and crushing on the supposedly straight Eileen, the popular girl, until one fateful night the two girls connect and love might well be in the air. The fallout about two girls who grow close after the traumatic experience of a school shootout that sees them stuck together. While the topic is heavy, the ending is not. These next few are movies that have a positive ending but don't necessarily end up with that categorically happy romantic ending. I still think they are worth mentioning, however. The half of it follows teen Ellie, studious and smart. She's developed a bit of an entrepreneurial enterprise where she can do other kids' homework for a fee, and one day she is approached by a guy, Paul, to help him write love letters to his crush, Asta. This just happens to be the girl that Ellie is crushing on as well, giving her free rein to say all the things that she's wanted to say but never has. Through this, Ellie and Paul develop a close friendship, but it's complicated when Paul finds out Ellie's real feelings. This film is a coming of age that is less about getting the girl and more about the close friendship that develops. While it's not the fairy tale ending we might want, it does end with Ellie heading off into a hopeful future. With the film You Can Live Forever, it's implied that things ultimately end well for the two protagonists, although it doesn't outright state it, hence it being in this section. When Jamie is sent to live with her aunt and uncle, both of whom are Jehovah's Witnesses, Jamie finds herself attending the meetings, and there she meets the devout Marika. Their attraction is immediate, and due to her desire to be close to Marika, Jamie finds herself agreeing to go to Bible study and other Jehovah's meetings just to be close to her. It's clear the feelings are mutual, and despite it being seen as very wrong by the church, the two girls start a relationship. To help justify this to herself, Marika twists herself into a pretzel, trying to make this relationship make sense within the stifling constraints of her religion and failing. While it seems that things are over between them, perhaps in the end, they are not. I thought this was a solid film with some interesting themes around religion, so I do recommend. The Truth About Jane is a categorically happy ending, just not one that ends with her getting the girl. Instead, she gets the support of her family, which is, let's be real, probably more vital. The conflict of this film revolves around Jane, not only coming to terms with her sexuality and dealing with the pangs of first love, but her mum working through her homophobia to be supportive of her child. It's a made-for-TV movie, so simple in its script and execution, but also a film that, at the time it came out, hugely impactful and enjoyable to watch. This last film may or may not deserve to be on this list depending on how you interpret the final moments of this film. I, of course, opt to interpret this in the gayest of ways. Two best friends, Kat and Samantha, decide to take advantage of a couple's retreat Kat's mum gifted her in order for her to repair her relationship with her ex-boyfriend. This requires them to pretend to be married, which they do very convincingly. While they are there for a bit of R&R, through the weekend they begin to question their relationship, and it seems that all indicators are pointing to the fact that they are perfect for each other. Insofar, this is a simple and easy rom-com with some lovely performances and well-written character studies. By the end of the film, the rom-com formula has appeared to have done its magic, replete with a public declaration, but in the final seconds of the film, a question mark is raised, which, if this was a film made today, would be deeply aggravating, but since I like the rest of the film, I'm giving it a pass. Thanks to all of you who let me know of films you thought should be included. I am taking note, so please continue to nominate more in the comments. Until next time, lady lovers.